Today I am going for an easy run in the Saucony Endorphin Speed, the first Endorphin Speed. This is the first shoe that I ever ran in that has a supercritical foam, which means that the foam is judging you. It is a funny name for that, but the idea is really, it's a very bouncy foam that has a lot of energy return, so it's designed to be very efficient. This has been one of my favorite shoes since I've had it. I ran a half marathon in it and set a personal best at the time. Even though this isn't really marketed as a race shoe, it's a step down from the Endorphin Pro, but really it has the same midsole, the same outsole, the only difference being a carbon plate versus a nylon plate in the Speed. So the Speed is actually a little bit more flexible, a little bit more friendly. The upper is a little bit more plush. So the Endorphin Pro has a little bit of a thinner upper, more of a race upper. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit stiffer for those higher speeds. But I found that the Endorphin Speed, being a little bit more friendly, a little bit more comfortable, actually has a wider use case. You know, you can use this for longer runs, easy paces, tempo runs, sessions. So it's a very versatile shoe. I would say the most versatile one I've tried. I actually have it in three different ones. So this is the newest one I'm wearing today. I'll double check how many miles I have on this one, but just gonna do a bit of an easy run today. I might turn up the pace a little bit because it's hard not to with this shoe, but it's long overdue for me to review this one, being one of my favorite running shoes ever. The Saucony Endorphin Speed has 35.5 millimeters of stack height in the heel and 27.5 millimeters in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter drop. In my size, a men's 12.5, it comes in at 9.08 ounces. This is a neutral shoe with a gusseted tongue, has an effortless forward roll from a combination of the Power Run PB foam, the nylon plate in the shoe, and Saucony Speed Roll technology. It's much more flexible than many carbon plated shoes, making it more comfortable for longer miles. This shoe can really fill the role of a daily trainer, a tempo shoe, and a racing shoe with great durability and comfort at a reasonable price. This shoe was $160 when it first came out. Now you can find it on sale, if you can still see it out there, for $90. I've seen the Speed 2 on sale for $82 now that the Speed 3 has come out. But again, even at full price, this shoe can do so much. I think it's a great bargain. So I'm about 2.5 miles into this run, and man, do I love the Endorphin Speed. It's a great shoe. I think this is the most versatile shoe that I've ever owned. Just the amount of stuff that it does well is really second to none. The amount of bounce that you get from the foam is just enough to push you forward. It's not too squishy, you're not squishing into it too much, but it's also not too firm. The nylon plate in there is flexible, gives you some assistance, but really what I think makes this shoe so great is the combination of that Power Run PB foam and the Speed Roll technology that Saucony puts in these shoes. That Speed Roll technology, the geometry of the shoe, really gives you such a nice roll through your stride. I'm able to land on my midfoot, get a nice little amount of squish in, but it pops right back and drives you onto your toe, driving you forward. This shoe is great as a daily trainer. It's great as a tempo shoe, and you could even use it for racing. At the price point that it's at, there are not many shoes that can check all of those boxes. Usually when you're looking at a running shoe, there's three main categories. Your daily trainer, which is generally a little bit heavier, a little more rubber on the outsole, really more designed for comfort and durability. Your tempo shoe, which strips a little of that off. Usually it's lighter, more nimble, but usually you're losing a bit of cushioning, a bit of comfort, and a bit of durability in the outsole to make up for those gains in speed. And then the race shoe being completely focused on speed generally the least durability of any shoe, the least amount of rubber in the outsole, most minimal lightweight upper, designed to shave weight off and just get you locked into that outsole, the midsole for that matter. But it's giving you the most efficiency, the most energy return. One thing that I thought might happen here though is it's hard for me to stay at my easy pace. You can kind of hear in my breathing a little bit that this is not conversational pace, because the Endorphin Speed is just so fun. It makes you want to go faster. So it's really hard as you're just bouncing through your stride with ease to slow it down. So I just finished a 6-mile run in the Saucony Endorphin Speed 1s. This is actually my third pair of Endorphin Speeds. I got the first one back when they first came out. Then I got a second pair at Christmas, I think last year. And then I got another pair at some point last year when they went on sale after the Speed 2s had come out. Most people would agree, not a lot of difference between the Speed 1 and the Speed 2. Same outsole and midsole, a little bit different upper. So I haven't gotten the 2. I probably will get the Speed 3 and compare it to that at some point later this year. But yeah, that run today ended up being a little bit more of a tempo run, because this shoe just feels so good, has such nice turnover, it's hard to run slow in it. So ended up every mile except the last one was under 8 minutes. So I was really kind of going for more of an easy run today, but I was a little bit faster than my easy pace, just because this shoe really has the best roll of any shoe I've tried. It really rewards you for landing on that midfoot, kind of sinks in a little bit, but pops right back and drives you onto your toes and really keeps you wanting to push forward. I find myself leaning forward a little bit more, driving my arms a little bit more, because I'm just getting rewarded for having a more efficient foot strike. When I'm landing on that midfoot and putting my weight into the shoe, it's just giving it back to me with that nice roll. Even as I'm walking right now, I have a little bit more pep in my step. The shoe does have some sink in the heel, but not nearly as much as some of the other super foams. And when I sink in on the heel, it's really just to pop me back to the midfoot onto the rocker to roll me forward. So the ride of this shoe is just fantastic. You know, it keeps me driving my knees, and you know, the harder you work, the more it gives back to you. So it's a really rewarding shoe to run in at any pace. At easy pace, it's comfortable. At tempo pace, it's smooth, and you can also turn it up to a race pace, and then it's just going to feel even more responsive. So this shoe can really do it all.
So I think you get the idea from that video that I really like the Saucony Endorphin Speed. This is the newest version for me. This one has 160 miles on it. I have 2 other ones with 219 and 230. So if we add all that up, I have a total of 609 miles between my 3 Endorphin Speeds, which by far is the most miles I've put on any one type of shoe. This one also, nowhere. This one actually has the most miles on it, nowhere. And the one with 220, same thing. So with these 3 shoes, they all seem just as good as new, even after over 200 miles. So this has proven to be a very durable shoe, which I really appreciate, where you end up spending a lot of money sometimes on these shoes and they don't really go the distance. This is one that is still good now as it was when I first got it. Again, being a neutral shoe, it is more flexible. It has that nylon plate in there, which does help give you some pop, but it's nowhere near as stiff as a carbon plated shoe. This one has a gusseted tongue that stays in place. There's some padding in the heel collar. There's some support in the heel collar there as well, that plastic piece, so it is a little bit more built up than the race shoe typically would be. And just to compare that to the Endorphin Pro a little bit, this one has, the tongue is kind of stitched in there. It's a very thin tongue that's stitched into the shoe. This one in the heel collar, there's no pad on the back there, so it's just a floppy heel. And the mesh is a little bit thinner, a little bit more perforated than the mesh in the Speed. So that helps to reduce the weight of this shoe. But this one, you can see if I try and bend it, that carbon plate is a lot more resistant to bending. So this is a lighter weight, stiffer version of this shoe. What I find interesting though is if I was going to run a half marathon or a marathon, I'd actually rather have this than this. You know, this is built to be the race day shoe, but since it's so stiff, I find I can kind of get the best from this over a 5K or a 10K. It's going to give me more power, kind of more pop in a shorter race. But over that longer race, being as stiff as it is, I actually appreciate the comfort of the Endorphin Speed. So if I was going to run a half marathon or a marathon in either of these shoes, I would actually go for the less expensive Speed over the more expensive Pro. I think this has more benefits for shorter races, but in the longer races, I would go for the Speed. And again, what I think is one of the best things about this shoe is the value that it provides you. Being $160 new, Saucony's had some really good sales recently. You could get the Speed 1 or the Speed 2 for about half price. But even at full price, you basically have 3 shoes in one. Like looking behind me here, if we were going to try and make a rotation, you know, you could say, you know, here's my Max Cushion Daily Trainer. This with Zoom X is a $180 shoe, so it's already more expensive than this one. And this one's really just for slow miles, comfort, but not race, not tempo. Then you have, you know, the tempo category, which I would say both of these shoes would fall into. The Rebel 2s, the Takumi Sen, this one being $130, this one's $180, so this is more expensive. This one's a little bit less, but this one doesn't have as much versatility or as durability that the Speed has. So, you know, it covers that category as well. And then you get into the racing category. You know, now you're looking at the Vaporfly, carbon plate, Zoom X, stiff shoe, great pop, but, you know, less rubber coverage, less durable, more lightweight, but really designed just for races. You don't want to take this out on the daily and put all your daily miles on it. You're going to destroy your expensive shoe. You know, this shoe new being $250. There's been lots of sales on Vaporflies recently, though. You can get them for $150 or less, depending on the colorway, if you can find your size. So this to me still is the Speed King. But again, being so narrow, if you're a heel striker, this really is not going to work well for you. If you pronate, it's really not going to work well for you. So I find the Vaporfly to be the fastest shoe for me for 5Ks and 10Ks. But going to half marathon or marathon, it doesn't have the stability that I need. And similarly, with the Alphafly, this one being the most expensive shoe at $275 new, you have that huge stack of Zoom X, the AirPods, the carbon plate, the one-piece upper. This shoe, I like the way that it fits. It's definitely the most efficient, but again, being so narrow in that mid-foot, your foot really hangs over a lot. I find, again, if you were going to pronate at all, this shoe is really not helpful for that. So I wouldn't feel comfortable wearing this for a longer race, a marathon distance race. That's what actually brought me to the Adios Pro 3, which is going to be my race for the New York City Marathon. I'm going to use it this weekend for the Suffolk County Half Marathon, and I'm basically going to test out my marathon pace and see how this feels at that pace. But again, all the shoes I just mentioned are over $200, you know, for racing, brand new. This shoe being $160 replaces each of these. So all of them have some advantages, you know, this being very smooth, very good over long distances, but I feel like it's a little bit bulky. It's not as fast at shorter distances. This one is better at shorter distances. Some of the tempo shoes might be a little bit better at turning up the pace, but they're not as durable as the Endorphin Speed is. So is the Saucony Endorphin Speed the best running shoe ever? I'm going to say yes, just based on all those factors combined. For the value, the amount of runs you can do in this shoe, how versatile it is. You know the expression, jack of all trades, master of none. This is the near master of all of them. As far as a daily trainer goes, it's durable, it's comfortable. You can use it for slower pace miles. For a tempo shoe, I would put it right up there with some of the best, fastest tempo shoes. But it's more durable than they are. It's going to last longer. And for races, you know, it has the pop that you can use it for races, where those race shoes some of them might be faster, but they don't have as many use cases. You know, you can't use them for easy day runs. They're not as durable. They're more expensive. So I think if you combine all those factors, that really makes this the best running shoe. Because if someone was just going to buy one shoe to do everything, this would be the shoe to buy. You could use it for your daily miles. You could use it for your up-tempo runs and your races. You're not breaking the bank, and it's going to last a really long time. You know, it's a very durable shoe. So Saucony Endorphin Speed, yeah, this is good stuff. So buy it weight or second rate, obviously 100% buy the Endorphin Speed. I think it's the best running shoe ever. There are some other shoes that I might think are a better race shoe or maybe a better tempo shoe, but the Endorphin Speed is to the top of that list in almost every category at a reasonable price. So if you can get it on sale, get it on sale, but even at full price, it's a fantastic shoe. And again, almost at the end of the video, I still don't think I said like and subscribe this time either. So it would be good if I could grow the channel. Also, I'd like to see from you guys any comments about the format of how I'm doing these reviews. If there's anything in particular you want to see, if you want to see any comparisons between any specific shoes or anything that you'd like me to cover, feel free to write in the comments and I'd be happy to respond.